Hi, everybody, and welcome to PInal Prep Spotlight, brought to you by Jones Ford Buick GMC, your hometown dealer for more than 50 years. I am Brian Wright, and I am with Maria Vasquez, and we are now in the spring sports season, and we're going to be talking about baseball and softball all season long. So we're going to start the show this week by talking about our top three baseball teams that we see heading into the season. So a little bit of prognosticating from the two of us. And we're going to start from number 3 and work our way up. So let's start at your number 3 team in the county, and we'll start with Maria.
All right, well, my number 3 team is Combs, and they're coming off a good year. Last year they made the play-in round, and they have a lot of returning players this year, including their top pitcher in Tanner Johnson and their second ace in Aiden Akers. Now, they also have a really hot bat with Timmy Johnson, so I'm looking for the Coyotes to do better this year and make some noise in the 4A Black Canyon region.
Okay, and my number 3 is Poston Butte. And the Broncos just missed the 4A playoffs by a couple spots last year, but they had a lot of young players returning, and none of them is going to be more impactful than junior shortstop Junior Lopez. And this guy is one of my favorite players in the county. Last year he had an OPS over 1,000. He led the team in runs with 20, hits with 25, and doubles with 7. He stole 17 bases on 18 attempts, and he is an excellent defensive player. Then you have a couple of pitchers in Colton Verco and Octavio Flores, both juniors as well, and they really carried the load for them last year. They both pitched 37 innings. Colton Verco posted an ERA of 3.72, whereas Flores had a 4.16 ERA. So I think that the Broncos are going to be in pretty good shape when it comes to the pitching staff. Okay, now let's go to our number 2 team. And what do you have, Maria?
All right, for number 2, I have Vista Grande. Now, the Spartans made it all the way to the semifinals in the Class 4A state tournament last year, but they lost a lot of key players, such as pitchers Adam Belloc and Marco Osuna, and also their catcher in Tank Rodriguez. So, I see the Spartans still continuing to build off of what they had last year, but there's a lot of question marks as to, who's going to fill those empty gaps for them this year.
And my number 2 team is going to be Santan Foothills. And this team is led by a really superb senior class. These guys have played together, most of them now for at least 3 years in a row at the high school level, and some of them many more years than that going back pre-high school. But you've got a lot of good seniors. I'm just going to talk about 3. You've got Trevin Badger, Frankie Gulko, and Damian Lyon. And Trevin Badger, he had a 1.086 OPS last year. He had 14 doubles, 2 triples, 2 home runs. And, he also pitches. He's kind of a do-it-all player. Same way with Frankie Gulko. Now, Frankie, I'm going to talk about his pitching. He had a 7-2 record, a 0.93 ERA, and he struck out 82 in just 60 1/3 innings. And then when I look at Damian Lyon, he also posted an OPS of about 1,000. So Santan Foothills is deep. They just missed the 3A state playoffs cut last year. I think they're going to be in the playoffs this year, and I think they'll have a chance to do some damage. All right, let's get to our number 1 team. And Maria, who do you have at the top?
All right, well, my number one team is actually your number 3 team, and I'm going with the Poston Butte Broncos. You did mention Junior Lopez and Colton Verco, but I'm going to add in there Ethan Hatch for pitching. So far this season, he's been pretty much unhittable. He's only thrown 6 innings, but he has 9 strikeouts, and opponents are batting .190 against him. So you mentioned their pitching staff. They're going to be stronger this year. They're young, just juniors and sophomores. So I'm expecting really big things from the Broncos this year.
And my number 1 is Maria's number 2 team, and that is Vista Grande. And realizing that this team lost some great senior players, which Maria mentioned, uh, this is a team that I think is really just going to be reloading more than rebuilding. And you have senior Anthony Garcia is going to headline the pitching staff. He went 5-1 last year with a 2.07 ERA. He struck out 50 batters in just over 40 innings. And then we've got sophomore shortstop Emilio Barreras, who I think is going to be a little bit of a breakout player. He, through just 4 games this year, is 8 for 12 with 2 doubles and 3 triples. So he's off to a scorching start. And then another player I know that the team is very high on is junior center fielder Anthony Bolanos. And last year he led the team in runs scored with 23. He was tied for second in RBIs with 20. And he was tied for first in doubles with 10. And he is going to be a factor defensively as well. So I like the Spartans to be very competitive again and look to see some of those younger players stepping up and making some bigger contributions this year. Well, that does it for our breakdowns on our top 3 baseball teams heading into the season. And tune in next week when we do the same thing for softball. And remember to visit PInalCentral.com for all of your spring sports action. And we'll see you next week.